Welcome to the Skylab Command Center tutorial on what you can link buttons to. For this demo, I am going to use the highlights to show your examples. So I'm going to go to App Manager here on the side, and I'm going to go to Gamification, and I'm going to start with a highlight. If I click Create Highlight and I scroll down, you'll see the all familiar bar about what you can link to, the action, and then what you're going to link this button to. So we're going to start going down the line. We'll start with Platform Action. If you select Platform Action, you'll notice that you can allow your users to select this button to lead them to the camera library, which will pull up all the images and videos on their device. They can pull up the camera module of their device, which will allow them to take pictures and videos to post to the wall. You can connect it to Coming Soon, which will just give them a pop-up message saying Coming Soon. We don't recommend ever using this. It's not a very good user experience. The next one down is Email Support. You will add your email in here in the app underneath Settings, and when you select Email Support, it'll immediately open the user's preferred email app and it'll pre-populate your email in it. We've got the GIF widget, we've got Select Tags, we've got Share the App, a text post, or Track It. These are some of the items that you can connect to. Text post is basically whenever you're on the app and you select the text post module in the bottom right hand corner, that plus sign, that is going to be the text post. Track it just means that you are going to come down here and you're going to manually add your own images by selecting post to activity wall, and then you can manually upload images for the track it items. We can then go over to group of highlights, where you can connect this to a different set of group of highlights. If you connect it to a group of highlights, when the user clicks this button, it'll immediately open, for example, the optimized group of highlights, and they'll be able to select actions or highlights inside this group. The next one over is single highlight. So you can select from just one highlight that you would like to connect this particular button to. Or we can move on to features, where you can connect to different features. For example, channels. If I select channels, notice I have a loading wheel here. If I wait on this loading wheel to load, if I want to connect to the entire channels feature or the media center feature, I would leave it as is. If I want it to connect to a single channel, I could use this drop down here and find the single channel that I want it to connect to. Once I connect to a single channel, I can either leave it as is or I can select a specific channel post. So just be aware of that layout, that if you want to connect it to a single post or a single channel, you'll have to connect it to channels first. And that's the same for some of our other features. And then you'll see a list of a lot of our other features down here. If you wanted this button to open up any of these, you would simply select it from the list. External link, that's grabbing any URL, typing it in here, or copy and pasting it here, and telling it whether you want it to be in-app or browser. The difference is we most of the time encourage users to keep everything in-app, but occasionally you might want to open up in a browser. If it's something like if it's going to open up an app such as Spotify, it'll be better if you leave it out of app in the browser. Everything else, just basic browser web URLs, you're going to want to leave it in app. And that's a tutorial on what you can connect things to. Feel free to play around either in, I would actually play around if you're going to play with it. Go to the platform settings here and then scroll down to, let me get rid of that so I can see it easier. You're going to go to app settings. I'm going to go to navigation. And if you want to play with what things link to, I would grab one of these and play with it here. So once I've made my selection and opened it, you'll see the exact same list of things I can connect to, and you will create your buttons here. Just note that if you're not creating an action, you won't be selecting text. You won't be selecting track it from this list. That's the only thing that you can't do if you're not inside the action feature. All right, so I highly recommend again that you go to navigation to play with a lot of these buttons, see what it does, see what your possibilities are. And if you want to play with the track it action to see what that's like, you would need to create an action, which we can walk you through on a different tutorial.